We've gotten together with our friends at The Richest, The Gamer, The Things, and Screen Rant to put your knowledge of your favorite characters to the test. We'll show you how some of your favorite characters are totally different in other countries. If you can't get enough, check out 10 animated characters changed in other countries by Screen Rant. But first, be sure that you subscribe for the latest from us here at The Taco. Now, let's jump into it. Zootopia. If you watch Zootopia in the United States, Canada, or France, you would swear that the news anchors were a moose and a snow leopard. And that's correct, but only partially. You see, Disney switched up the moose anchor depending on which country the movie was to be aired in. People watching in China saw a panda bear delivering the news instead, while in Brazil, people saw a jaguar. In Australia and New Zealand, there's a koala bear, and in the UK, it's a Welsh corgi, of course. You might wonder what creature was delivering the news in Japan, but that's a tanuki, which is a type of raccoon dog. Mintizaki. If you knew what a tanuki was, maybe you've heard of Mintizaki's total Japanese remodel as well. In Wreck-It Ralph, we are introduced to a racer named Mintizaki, whose name is a nod to famous Japanese animator Hayao Miyazaki. He's the man behind many of your favorite animated films, including Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke. In the Japanese movie, instead of Mintizaki, we meet Minty Sakura. She looks totally different from Mintizaki, and her theme seems to be Pocky instead of mint and candied apples. It's rumored that she was originally going to be a redesign for Candlehead, but because that would have been much more complex, she became the redesign of Mintizaki instead. Merida. Take a look at this character named Kiara and ask yourself which Disney character she reminds you of. If you said Merida from Brave, you win. Her name is Kiara and she appears in Kiara the Brave, which was released by a studio in India. However, fans and Disney were quick to notice the striking similarities between this film and Brave, and they weren't happy. As a result, Kiara the Brave was changed to Super K, but this didn't make it any more of a fan with critics. The film is widely regarded as terrible and shows that trying to be a leech on the Disney belly can only take you so far. Remy. For those of you who are fans of the gorgeous Disney/Pixar animation style, we hate to have to show you this. You know everyone's favorite movie about a rat who wants to be a chef, Ratatouille? Starring the adorable Remy? Well, a Brazilian animation company decided to make a suspiciously familiar knockoff version called Ratatouille. The chef rat in this movie is called Marcel Tuing, and he's also just trying to manage a successful restaurant. Apparently, the studio behind this mousy monstrosity decided that using more anthropomorphic mice and a smaller animation budget would be the ticket to success. And at the risk of spoiling it for you, please be assured that it's anything but. Mowgli. The Jungle Book is a classic Disney movie based on a book by Rudyard Kipling. It follows the adventures of a human child named Mowgli as he makes his way through the jungle, befriending various singing creatures. A few years after the Disney version was released, Russia came out with their own version in a 5-part series simply called Mowgli. It was a huge hit in the Soviet Union and was more faithful to Kipling's work than the Disney version. Don't expect to see singing animals in comedic situations in this version. It's a much darker and grittier telling of the tale. Eventually, an English version was released under the name Adventures of Mowgli. Dr. Wu. In Iron Man 3, we were introduced very briefly to a character named Dr. Wu, but in the Chinese version of the film, there were many additional scenes that expand on this character. His nurse, played by Fan Bingbing, is also introduced, while she doesn't appear in versions outside of China. In addition to the human characters, there is also a lot of product placement specifically aimed at Chinese audiences. Guli Duo is a very popular milk brand and it appears in the Chinese version. Overall, you're missing about 4 minutes of Dr. Wu and milk-related content by not checking out the Chinese version. And you call yourself a Marvel fan? Rochelle. In the movie Planes, we're introduced to a feisty plane named Rochelle. However, did you know that there are a plethora of different versions of Rochelle? That's right, her appearance and even her name changes depending on what version of the film you're watching. And she's voiced by a different voice actress in each version. The Canadian Rochelle is red, pink, and white, but in Russia, her name is Tanya and she's white, blue, and red. The Australian version is red, green, yellow, black, and white, and the French version is white, pink, and magenta. Overall, there are 11 different versions of Rochelle. Moana. When it comes to strong female characters in a Disney movie, Moana has to be one of the best, and that's in addition to stunning visuals and an awesome soundtrack. It's no wonder Moana is such a hit, but a surprising part of her caused trouble when the movie was released overseas: her name. The trouble starts in Spain, where Moana is already a registered brand. Instead, the movie and character are called Vaiana, which means water cave. In Italy, the most well-known Moana is Moana Pozzi, who is an adult film star. Needless to say, this didn't quite fit the Disney image, so the movie title was changed to Oceana instead. Le Fou. Beauty and the Beast is a Disney movie beloved by many all over the world, so of course we were so excited when we heard that there was going to be a live-action version. In the cartoon, Le Fou does seem pretty obsessed with the dashing Gaston, but there are many more important things going on. You know, like dancing teacups and literally beasts kidnapping fair maidens. In the live-action version, Disney decides to play up Le Fou's obsession with Gaston and even dared to show a scene in which he briefly dances with another man. Well, that version of Le Fou has been banned in Kuwait, where being gay is a criminal offense. Riley. To American audiences, the scene in Inside Out where Riley doesn't want to eat broccoli is pretty normal. It seems pretty age-appropriate, so what's the problem? Well, apparently children in Japan have very different feelings about broccoli. They're huge fans, so to Japanese test audience, this scene didn't make any sense. It would be like having a kid throwing a tantrum because they didn't want to eat chicken nuggets here in America. So in the Japanese version, the vegetable that Riley most hates is green peppers. Peppers are shorthand for a food that many people, especially kids, aren't fans of in Japan. It's a subtle cultural difference, but one that was important for this scene. Are you intrigued by these international versions of your favorite films? If so, don't worry, we have you covered. You definitely don't want to miss 10 animated characters changed in other countries by our friends at Screen Rant. Wait until you see Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 2. And if you're a fan of Disney, you need to see how Monsters University is different outside of the United States. After that, check out some other videos from our friends at The Things, The Gamer, and The Richest. Bye for now.